Assalamu alaikum students, I hope everybody is doing well. So in previous videos we have revised summary, reference to the context as well as question answers. Today we are going to complete the exercise of unit number 5, daffodils. First of all, on page number 54 we have figures of speech. We use figures of speech in the poems to create the rhythmic impact. First of all, we have simile. In simile, we compare two things by using the word like or as if they have written, a simile is a figure of speech in which like or as is used to make a comparison between two ideas that are basically dissimilar. That is the comparison between two things which are not similar to one another. As if they have given us example, her eyes twinkled like stars. Here they have written the simile between eyes and stars on the basis of their characteristic, because stars shine and eyes shine as well. So that's why they have made a comparison between these two things. Second example we have, she was as busy as a bee. So that busyness is the characteristic of the bee. That's why they have compared two things together. Now we have metaphor. That is somehow same with the simile, but in simile we use the word like and as, but in metaphor we do not use any word. We directly compare two things. As if they have written over there, if we write a comparison between two things and omit the word like, then we are using a metaphor. For example, if we say she is as brave as a lion, that is an example of simile. If I would say she is a lion, that would be the example of metaphor. As if they have also given us examples. He proved a lion in the fight, which means he showed bravery like a lion in the fight. His heart is red, red roses. So these are the example of metaphor. Now we have personification. It is a figurative language technique where an object or idea is given human characteristics or quality, which means if a non-living thing would be given a characteristic of a living thing, that would be called as in personification. As if they have given us example, the candle flame danced in the dark. So danced is something that is associated with the human being, but they have given the characteristic danced to the candle. So we can say that this non-living object is given the characteristic of the living being. Now we have imagery. Imagery is the construction of details used to create mental images in the mind of the reader through the visual sense as well as the senses of touch, smell, taste and sound. So we may say that imagery is necessary in any poetry to create a mental image in the mind of the reader. Here they have also given the examples of imagery as well. Imagery works on 5 senses: visual, auditory, smell, taste, touch, and they have given the examples as well. Number A we have, in daffodils similes are used in stanzas number 1 and 2. Can you tell what two things are compared in each of these stanzas? In stanza number 1, first line we have, I wandered lonely as a cloud. As a cloud is an example of simile, and wandering is being compared to the cloud. In stanza number 2 we have, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on Milky Way. As the stars is the example of simile. So in this stanza, daffodils are being compared with the stars. B part we have, pick out one example of personification from the poem. As if we have discussed personification before, that an object is given human traits or human characteristics is called as a personification. In stanza number 1, last line, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, that is the example of the personification, because dancing is something associated with the human traits. So in this poem, the poet has given the characteristic of human to the daffodils. Now on page number 55, We have part C. Here is the list of a few similes, metaphors and personifications. Can you identify them? Write S for simile, M for metaphor and P for personification. Here they have given us the list. We would have to identify which one is simile or metaphor or a personification. Number 1, we have time is money. In this, time is directly being compared to the money, and they have not used the words as or like, so that is an example of metaphor. Number 2, we have as busy as a bee. We have read this concept that in simile we use the word as or like. So here they have used the word as, that is an example of simile. Number 3, we have the wind whispered the rumors of the forest. That is an example of personification, because rumors is something associated with the human being. As gentle as a lamb, that is an example of simile. The sorry engine wheezed its death cough, that is an example of personification. Then we have the heart of lion, that is an example of metaphor. In second row we have the apple of my eye, is an example of metaphor. As cunning as a fox, simile. Brown grass was begging for water, personification. As wise as an owl, simile. Blanket of snow, metaphor. As black as a crow, simile. D part, we have underline the words and phrases that depict imagery in the poem. This is what we have discussed before. Then we have vocabulary. A part is use a thesaurus to find 3 more synonyms of the following words. They have given us words, so we would have to write down more synonyms of these words. Words are saw, glance, gaze, watch, look, stare. Second, we have shine, twinkle, spark, sparkle, spark, glitter, gleam. Dear students, you may add more words according to yourself. On page number 56, we have connotation. Connotation means that attitude and feeling associated with a word as opposed to its literal meaning, which we may say that connotation is a contextual meaning that we derive through the text. And in other words, we may say that the meaning that is not literal or the dictionary meaning. For example, the word is snake. If we talk about the dictionary meaning of this word, that would be reptile probably. But if you look at the connotative meaning, that might be pain, anger, terror, enemy. So these are the words that you can associate with the word. So we may say that connotative meanings are those meanings that we conclude from the text or the contextual meaning. It further has 2 types, a positive connotation, then a negative connotation, which means 2 words that have same meaning might be used in different ways. One can be used in positive way and another can be used in a negative way. We have part B, specify positive and negative connotation of each of the following. They have given us the words. We would have to specify which word we can use in positive way and which word we can use in a negative way. First, we have gaze and stare. Gaze we use in a positive connotation and stare we use in a negative connotation. Number 2, we have shine and glare. Shine we use in a positive connotation and glare we use in a negative connotation. Third, we have hoard and collect. Hoard we use in a negative connotation and collect we use in a positive connotation. Part C, we have use the words given in activity B in sentences of your own. Dear students, you are going to make sentences of these given words on your notebooks. Then we have this grammar portion. First of all, we have collective noun, a singular noun such as committee or team that refers to a group of people, animals or things is called collective noun. In other words, we may say that one singular noun or word we use to refer group of things is called as a collective noun. For example, class, that refers to a group of students. Here they have also given example crowd. In this poem refers to a collection or a large number of daffodils. So crowd is the example of collective noun. As if collective noun is a singular noun, that would always be taking a singular verb as well. Now we have activity A. Write the collective nouns of the following. A, we have a collection of ships. Collective noun of a collection of ships would be fleet. Number B, we have a collection of singers. We'll be using choir, that is a collective noun. Number C, we have a collection of cattle. We'll use herd. Number D, we have a collection of soldiers. We'll be writing the collective noun army for a collection of soldiers. Number B, we have underline the prepositions of place in the noun. First of all, we are going to discuss about the preposition. Preposition shows the relationship between subject and object, and that determines the place of the object. So I have underlined prepositions in this poem. In first stanza, first line, we have as a preposition, over, at, beside, in. These are the prepositions in stanza number 1. In stanza number 2, as, on, in, of, at, in. These are the examples of preposition in stanza number 2. In stanza number 3, we have beside, in, and in stanza number 4, we have for, on, in, of, with. These are the prepositions that the poet has used in this poem. Part C, we have use the following prepositions in sentences of your own. Behind, beside, next to, under, over, along, across. Dear students, you are going to use these prepositions on your sentences. Then we have conjunctions. Conjunctions join words and sentences. There are two kinds of conjunctions. Conjunctions are used to create a bond or bridge between two sentences or words. In other words, we may say that conjunctions are used to join words, phrases, and sentences. We have two types of conjunctions: coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. First of all, we are going to discuss coordinating conjunctions. These conjunctions join sentences of equal rank. We may say that coordinating conjunctions are used to join sentences, phrases, or words of equal rank, which means that they can stand alone, or we may say that coordinating conjunctions join independent clauses, which means they are not dependent on one another. They can stand alone. Examples are but, or, nor, either, also, however, only, so, hence. Then we have subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions we use if we have one dependent clause. These conjunctions join sentences, one of which is dependent on the other. In coordinating conjunction, we have independent clauses, and in subordinating conjunctions, we have dependent clauses. Examples of subordinating conjunctions are because, that, while, unless, as, when, since, if, though. We have part D, fill in the blanks with appropriate conjunctions. Number 1, we have he ran fast, dash, he missed the train. But he missed the train. But is a coordinating conjunction. Number 2, we have wait, dash, I return, till I return. Till is an example of subordinating conjunction. Number 3, we have work hard, dash, you should fail, lest you should fail. That is also the example of subordinating conjunction. Number 4, I did not come, dash, you did not invite me, because you did not invite me. That is again the example of subordinating conjunction. Last we have you will get a prize dash you deserve it if you deserve it. That is also the example of subordinating conjunction. E part we have use any 5 coordinating conjunctions and any 5 subordinating conjunctions in sentences of your own. Dear students, you are going to make sentences by using coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions on your notebooks. On page number 58 we have use of present and past participles. First of all, we have to understand what is the meaning of participle. A participle is a verb form used as an adjective to modify nouns and pronouns. So we may say that participle is an adjective form that modifies noun or pronoun. We have two types of participles, present participle and past participle. Present participle, all the present participles end in ing. For example, laughing, falling, stinging, struggling, walking, jogging. These are the examples of present participle. Then we have past participle. The past participles of all regular verbs end in ed. For example, tired, injured, cracked. However, irregular verbs have various past participles ending such as thrown, ridden, built and gone. So all the regular verbs end at ed and irregular may have en or t or ne at the end of the verb. Now we are going to do the exercise of participles. Underline the participles in the following sentences. As if we have read that participles are the form of adjective to modify nouns and pronouns. Participles work as an adjective but they cannot be the main verb. As if in sentence number 1, he was so shocked due to the accident that he could not speak. In this sentence, shocked is an example of past participle and the main verb is speak because this past participle is modifying noun. Number 2, we have the galloping horse scared the child. In this, galloping is present participle which is modifying horse and galloping is working as an adjective and scared is the main verb. Number 3, we have I don't want that burnt toast. Burnt is past participle that is modifying noun toast. Number 4, we have don't be frightened. That dog doesn't bite. Frightened is a past participle because here it is working as an adjective. Number 5, we have the lorry was carrying stolen goods. So in this sentence, carrying is working as a main verb and stolen is a past participle because stolen is modifying noun goods. Number 6, we have everybody was excited preparing the things for the trip. In this sentence, excited is working as a main verb and preparing is the example of present participle. Last we have if the children are bored, take them to the park. In this sentence, bored is a past participle because it's modifying noun. Last we have make 5 sentences using the present participles and 5 sentences using the past participles. Dear students, that is going to be your homework.